Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome to this week's card. Today I'm going to be using some Faber Castell Design Memory Craft products. I'm also using this penny black embellishment set, which I find is pretty practical. I've been using it a lot. I've got some gelatos, I've got some big brush pens, and then I've got a stencil by Simon Says Stamp called Repeated Hearts. The first thing I'm going to do is take a piece of Nina Solar White cardstock at 4.5 by 3 inches, and I'm going to cover it with gesso. And I don't normally like to take extra steps when creating a card, but it's really not that hard to do. It does seem a little messy, but it's pretty quick and the cleanup is pretty easy and it dries fast. So I think the extra step is worth it. And I'll tell you why when we get to that part. So I've got my stencil. I'm going to secure it with some masking tape to my craft sheet. And I'm using my embossing paste here, and I use the back of the spatula to fill up the hearts, and I'm just using the little hearts right now. So if I get some over into the big heart area, it's no big deal. And right after I'm done using my embossing paste, I like to clean my stencil immediately because it does tend to stick to it, and so I want to get it off as fast as I can. Now once I clean that off, because you do have some time, I'm going to use some ultra thick embossing enamel, and it's clear embossing powder, but it's very, very coarse. It's like a sugar, so it's not really a powder, it's more like a crystal, and it just sticks to your embossing powder. Now I'm going to let that dry while I work on something else. These are metallic gelatos. These two, along with the red that I'm going to be using in a little bit, they all come in a single pack, which is nice. And I have to tell you that these three metallic colors are my very favorite gelatos, so I highly recommend that 3-pack. And I'm just going to randomly put the blue and the green and then just a little bit of black, and I'm going to smudge it all with my finger. Add a little bit more black, and it just wipes right off with a baby wipe off your finger, so it's really easy to clean up. Now here's where the gesso comes in. So I'm going to put the stencil over this, and I'm going to take a baby wipe, and I'm going to kind of wipe off randomly some of the hearts. And because the gesso is underneath there, the gelato comes off really easily. Now I did another version of this card without the gelato, and I kind of peeled up my paper a little bit because I was rubbing it kind of hard, and it's a little bit it's just more difficult to get the gelato off if you don't have that gesso underneath. But it definitely can be done, and you'll definitely see the hearts underneath if you don't have some gesso. This is just a coconut one, and I'm showing you how I clean it. So it got some blue on it, and I just wipe it on a baby wipe, and it just comes right off. So you can put it on top of different colors, and it's no big deal. So I just used the edges here to make it look a little bit more distressed, and then I rubbed it with my finger. And then I spritzed some water on it, and after I spritzed the water, I wiped it up with a baby wipe, and that's what created these white spots. So it's kind of the same thing as we did with the hearts with the stencil. Oh, you see I accidentally sprayed it, so I just kind of left it the way it is. I actually put some adhesive on the back, and then I realized I forgot this step. But anyway, so we just let that dry, and then I'm going to adhere it to some black cardstock. And you can see how it looks a little distressed. It's got some spots in it, and then the hearts. I've got the Heart Parade die by Simon Says Stamp, so I'm going to run that through my Sizzix because I'm going to pull out 3 of the hearts in there that I want to use. Now here's the red metallic gelato that comes with the set, and I'm just going to cover these hearts, and I'm going to smudge it around with my finger. And then I've also got a strip of paper that I cut. This is the big brush pen in red, and I'm just going to color the edges, and then I'm going to kind of smear it toward the middle. So I'm going to color the edge and smear it with my finger, and it just slides the ink and blends it in so that it kind of looks like it's got a little bit more dimension in it. I'm going to do that with all 3 of these hearts. I've got the white pen also, and I'm just going to put a couple of dots on there and kind of touch it, just a little dab with my finger, so it kind of looks like I've got a little bit of a shine on my heart there, like a reflection, a light reflection. Alright, next up is my sentiment. So I'm using the banner from this embellishment set and some versafine black ink, and I've got this sentiment sampler from Paper Smooches. It's got a lot of different sayings in it, and I'm going to pull the Miss You, and I'm going to stamp it right there in the middle, and I'm going to cut it out with some scissors. I'm going to punch a hole here. This is just a paper piercer, and then Stampin' Up! Sells a mat that you can put underneath when you're piercing your paper. And now I'm going to adhere this using some Tombow Mono Multi Glue right there in the middle. And then I need to punch the hole through the panel with the gelato, so I'm going to do that because I'm going to thread some embossing string in there. Embossing thread, is that right? That doesn't sound right. Floss? Yeah, floss, that's what it is. And I'm just going to tie a bow. And trim off the edges. And then I'm just going to figure out where my hearts are going to be. I'm just going to randomly place them. And I want the one heart to hang off the edge there. So again, I'm going to use that same glue. Alright, we're done with that panel, and now it's time to go ahead and emboss, apply heat to my hearts, because I let it dry with the embossing paste and the UTEE, the embossing enamel. And sometimes you need two coats with this. The first time I created this card I didn't need 2 coats, but it looks like I missed a few spots because the embossing powder, well, the embossing crystals are kind of thick, and so you may not get as good coverage. So I just used a Versamark pen to make it easier so I can spot it, put the spots on it where I missed, and then I heated it up again. And it looks like literally I had some enamel hearts that I had stickers of and I put on there. And you can make it even thicker if you want to, if you used more embossing paste. Okay, now I've got all my pieces, and I'm going to adhere them all together now with the glue. I've just got a black strip of cardstock, and then my heart panel, and then the strip I colored with the metallic gelato, and then finally the main panel. And I'm just going to use some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, and then I'm going to put some glue at the bottom because that's how it's going to adhere on top of those enamel hearts. And that's it. I think it's a really fun card. It's really cute. I really love the colors. I highly recommend this set of gelatos. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.